Hi everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are you today, wherever you are when you're watching this in this world of ours? Hello and a shout out to you. Thank you to those who have been generous with their donations and their comments and their support of this channel. Their general positivity. It really does make a difference when there's so much negativity out there. All right, now I'm going to pull a couple of the Aboriginal Oracle cards just to get started for the underlying energy for the week ahead. So what have we got here? What is the over or underlying energy that will move through this week? That's important for people to see, to know about during this reading. What is the underlying energy for this week ahead? So we have here challenges. Okay, so challenges, that doesn't surprise me. We have still the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We're getting stories and images of terrible atrocities in many countries. The Omicron COVID is making a resurgence, and in fact in my own household we now have coronavirus. So there's many challenges. The economies of the world, leadership, exposés coming out about leaders doing the wrong thing world over, and it's just a time of challenge for us. The American January the 6th investigation, the DOJ investigation, the ex-president still holding rallies and lying. Challenges. In fact, I had somebody come on the channel and leave a comment over the weekend that Trump was watching my every word and every move, and he was still installed in the White House and he was coming for me. I suggested that viewer go and get a mental health check, because that is the definition of psychosis, is false beliefs, illusions, delusions, and that's definitely one of them. So this is all a part of the world that we live in, the challenges, not to mention flooding again along the east coast of Australia, and all the challenges that climate change brings us. Challenges, a bit of an understatement, but there you have it. If we look very closely, though, we see in Aboriginal imagery, we see people in a circle sitting around a table. So unity will always, meeting, talking, dialogue, diplomacy, hard diplomacy, cooperation, support, meeting challenges together, regardless of the environment, will always help. Now we have windfall. So yeah, I see a positivity in that card, because I see in many ways the world coming together to meet these challenges. Now windfall doesn't just mean monetary. To me, that looks like the Ace of Swords. It looks like a windfall, something going in our favor. The energy. I love these cards because they're just so expressive. The energy coming down, moving down what looks like to be a sword of truth, literally. We have some good universal energy, some good spiritual energy that is so supportive at the moment. So I don't see that necessarily, takes the edge off the harshness, doesn't it, when we come together and support one another. We have frustration, and I think there's a lot of that. In my readings, I always try and bring forward, bring it up, and let's have a look at it. Frustration. Why is it after 4 or 5 years that the ex-president is still walking around in America after doing so much damage, a Russian asset, still calling on Vladimir Putin to help him win the next election? Meanwhile, we're seeing images of a retreating Russian army and the war crimes that so obviously have been committed by Vladimir Putin and Russia. Frustration. One more, inner harmony. One of the ways to deal with our external world is to strengthen our inner world, to strengthen our inner resources. Makes good sense, doesn't it? And this is balancing out the energy, balancing out the energetic body, taking the time out to create harmony in your closer micro environment, regardless of what is happening outside of you. Connectivity and creativity will bring us together at a time of turmoil. Father Sky. Never forget that we've got that assistance, no matter what the trials and tribulations are, from the divine. Okay, let's get started on the questions there. So that's a pretty good summary from where I'm sitting of the current energies. All right, let's go to Russia retreating out of Kiev, and leaving behind in the villages and the towns that they leave very tragic, searing energies of war crimes against the Ukrainian civilians. I'm not even going to say they're denying it. I mean, Russians' war crimes. Okay, the question is, are they retreating or are they regrouping to perhaps concentrate on those coastal ports? They have begun bombing or restarted bombing of Odessa. And there's some talk about trying to cut off a key Ukrainian army battalion so that they can then move and assault on that coastal area. So let's have a look. Are Russians retreating from Ukraine, or are they regrouping? What can you show me? Are Russians retreating or regrouping from Ukraine? Okay, so we have the Wheel of Fortune. So there's change. Okay, so their fortunes, perhaps it wasn't going so well in the areas that they were. Well, we know that. Okay, so the Ukrainians have tremendous will to fight for their country, fight for their sovereignty. So yes, it wasn't going so well where they are. They now have new objectives. And that's not because they had that same objective at the start of the invasion. It's because it didn't go so well where they were. So the Ace of Cups crossing the Wheel of Fortune. One of the questions I want to ask today, is Putin actually still making decisions? The Ace of Cups. So yes, they are retreating, but we're not finished yet. Temperance and moderation. These are good cards. That talks about balance being restored and healing now having to begin after these war crimes, these atrocities in the areas that they're retreating from. So in answer to my question, I already know they're retreating. Page of Pentacles. In the past, it's like these are young people, young Russian soldiers. The lack of experience, the lack of strength, the lack of resources in the Russian army has been really laid bare, hasn't it? The Page of Pentacles. So they may have had a small victory, but that's in the past. Okay, the Seven of Swords, of course, is crowning this reading. This is a really leaving something unguarded, lying. So, as so many of you said, never trust Vladimir Putin. The High Priestess, we haven't seen, and this is what worries me, we haven't seen what's coming next yet. The High Priestess. She always appears when something is about to happen that we're not foreseeing. Now we have circles of support here. It could be that Russia might be picking support up amongst some other country or nation. No, not China. But we've got circles of support. This is also celebrations. So in a way, the Ukrainians and those that supported Ukraine in this invasion can really celebrate a victory in the retreat. the Magician in the atmosphere around manifestation. So these cards are always double layered, and so yes, they're supporting, they're celebrating a victory. The Ukrainians are celebrating a victory. They've manifested that victory through their sheer will. Through their sheer will. And of course, the other aspect of this is Russia may be regrouping. Three of Cups, Magician, manifestation, and manipulation. So they could be getting support from an area from a country, from a mercenaries, conscripts, something that we haven't yet seen. And we have the Hierophant in the hopes and fears. They still have an aim to govern parts of Ukraine. The Hierophant also is this universal energy that that sits with Ukraine. Ukraine has right, and Russia doesn't. One of my questions shortly will be: will they be tried for war crimes? So we have the Lovers. So they are going to try and make a deal. All right, here's what I think. Their objectives have changed. They will start to focus very heavily on those coastal port cities. And it's really to strengthen the deal making. But they have retreated. Okay, so it's a yes, but it's also a bit of a double-edged sword. They have a decision to make. So this is very, very layered. The invasion is not going well for Russia at all. And they do have decisions to make to retreat. So the original question is, yes, they are retreating, but they are also going to concentrate activities there along those coastal ports. And it is a leverage thing with the negotiations. All right, so we have the Ace of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. Things are quite significantly, the economy in Russia, resources going to those troops. Things are a lot worse than what we are obviously seeing. We have the Moon card. It always worries me when I see the Moon card. That's kind of like the shadow side. We have Strength and the Chariot. So, yeah, they could be getting help from someone is it a country that we don't really know about? It's quite clandestine. But I do feel the bombing of the coastal cities are as leverage in the negotiations. I've always said they want a coastal port. Okay, so let's move to Putin. There's so much conjecture about him having cancer. I want to know, because he's looked so... When I look at those pictures, he's looked not quite with it. We know that intelligence coming out of the Kremlin is showing that forces are moving against him. He is losing the war. They are retreating. Regardless of what they're going to do on the coast of Ukraine, they are retreating. Okay, so it's not gone well at all. And the Russian economy is probably a lot worse than what we think it is. All right, is Putin even making decisions? Is Putin making decisions about this war? Is Putin still making decisions about this war? Is Putin making decisions about this war? So I'm getting a church scene. Knight of Pentacles would suggest it's a slow-moving kind of energy, but it's also a consistent one. And we have the Three of Rods, foreign. So he could be actually negotiating. His efforts could be negotiating additional help. So far I'm seeing he's still making decisions. But we have the Page of Cups, so this is a surprise. That's at the foundation of the reading. Something's going to take us by surprise where Putin is concerned. Page of Wands in the past. His power has been eroded. Now, that's in the past, so it's not a king, is it? The nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment, and miracles, is crowning this reading. The oligarchs also. Okay, the King of Pentacles in the near future. I think he is still making decisions, but I'm also getting a big draw to the oligarchs. Page of Swords in the here and now. There are spies around him. There is treason. And the Six of Cups, which is the past. So we see those within the Kremlin not loyal to Putin. In the hopes and fears, disappointment, 3 cups lost. Somebody is offering him something. What is that? Okay, the 3 of Cups. So that was the 4 of Cups, 3 of Cups. Is he still making decisions? Yes, he is. But we have those around him. There's something here around a celebration. 4 of Wands. That's kind of what I saw also. Reunification. And the 7 of Swords. Somebody is... I think somebody's actually stealing from him. So the oligarchs, for example, could be, or even the army could be taken. There's something, he's being betrayed. That's absolutely there. And somebody is thieving from him. Whether that's government money, one more after that 7. They're lying to him. And yes, it is a very toxic environment at this time for Putin. Knight of Wands. There will be movement against him. We know that. You can look at my readings. At the moment, he's still making decisions, but he is being betrayed in real time. And I get a real pull to the oligarchs. Okay. Let's move quickly over to... All right, now, I want to see if Putin or Russian generals, will anyone in Russia be tried for these war crimes we're seeing in Ukraine, executions, rapes, murders, terrible, unspeakable things. Will anyone in Russia be tried for war crimes? I heard a yes. Cold comfort. So we've got the 7 of Swords. Absolutely thieving, taking. The Ace of Swords. I'm getting a pull to those they've taken from Ukraine as well. And the Ace of Swords. The truth is emerging now. I'm sharing it on my Twitter feed. It's unpleasant to see, but the truth must be documented, is being recorded, and the truth will come out. Just how it always comes out. Always. The Hermit card, isolation review. September is also a time frame associated with this Virgo card. In the past, we have him losing. What's he being offered here? A way out? Death. Endings, death. They will be tried for the atrocities, the murders that they've committed. It will be a strong, very strong prosecution. It's only just starting. And there is work right now being done on bringing these people to justice. The humanitarian crisis, the deaths. Russia will be brought to justice. It will take time, but they will. All right. And Putin could very well be offered an easy way out. We know what that will be. Okay, which is death. Okay. All right, so let's just go over to... I want to actually go to China. China, and there are concerns that China will establish a port in the Solomon Islands. Not only a port, a military base. Current Tory government in Australia has already leased the port of Darwin to the Chinese. So it's a little bit... Anyway, the less said on that, the better. But there are real fears that a military base, which is different to leasing a port from Australia, a military base in the Solomon Islands. Again, the Tory government was caught on hot mic laughing at the Pacific Islands because they were sinking. So, you know, bad leadership. We've seen a lot of bad leadership. We are seeing a lot of bad leadership, one way or another. Will the Chinese establish a military base in the Pacific Solomon Islands? It affects us all. Okay, the Ten of Cups would be a yes. And they're going to help the Solomon Islands, the people, which is what they do. And we've got retreat here, wounded. Let me just plug in. My battery's about to go. So crossed by retreat, they may actually be convinced not to do that in some way. Page of Cups. This is an offer of something. The sun in the past. The rising sun in the past. And we've got the past crowning this reading. So I'm seeing that the missteps by the Australian government has led, the current Australian government has indirectly led to this. And there's a lot of anxiety about it. I had a viewer say, you know, what are you going on about Russia for? China's on your doorstep and you're next. The Empress card, abundance. They've offered the Solomons things that we haven't. The Chariot, so it could be done very, very quickly. The Three of Pentacles, again, it's the assistance they're giving to the Solomons. The outcome card is temperance and moderation, but it is a yes card, and we've got death. So maybe they can be convinced through diplomacy not to do this. Maybe relations with China in some way can be improved. We have the government. They're not doing so well either. We always overestimate, and I think we saw that in Ukraine. We overestimate our our enemy, and give in to fear. So I'm seeing that negotiations will perhaps avert that. But I am seeing them supporting the Solomons quite strongly financially, and deepening a relationship with the Solomon Islands. I want to see if they are going to invade Taiwan. That's been a question, which would then draw in America and Australia. Will China invade Taiwan? China, I said before, they were sitting on the sidelines, appearingly not supporting one side or the next. Appearingly. So let's see. Will they invade Taiwan? Will they invade Taiwan? So we've got the Knight of Swords. So they are moving toward that goal or aim, but we have review. Now, what has deterred them from mobilising is watching how the West sanctioned Russia. They're reviewing right now. They're learning and they're reviewing. So the Ten of Swords, that's an ending to something. I don't see it's Taiwan. So we've got a moving out of troubled waters. So here's what I think already. My intuition's telling me that the Fool card, new starts. I think and we've got miracles, 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment. I'll keep going. My intuition, the Sun card in the here and now, and having to defend themselves. Yeah. So any sanctionings on their economy, remaking of trade deals will not go in their favour, and that is the deterrent for Taiwan. However, they're not letting go of something that they might do. And we've got the 7 of Swords. They may look at other ways other than invasion. A slow creep, for example. The 7 of Swords is also a lie. And the Queen of Swords, they have a strategy. They have a strategy. So potentially not an invasion, but not now. Queen of Pentacles, they want to stabilise their economy. So in this near future, no. They are battling coronavirus. They are battling trade deals being done with India, for example. They've seen how the sanctions have worked on Russia. No, they are wanting to stabilise their economy. So that's what I see, but they haven't given up their goal, which is so like China, of still moving, perhaps a little bit more in stealth toward their ultimate goals. Okay. Ever vigilant with China. I think that a change of government in Australia and some hard diplomacy might stabilise things in where we are in Australia. And that's just very obvious to me. Okay, one last question and then we'll finish. Jared Kushner's appearing before the January 6th committee. We'll go to the US now. I saw an interview with Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the DOJ. Absolutely, he is doing his job. And he will not be hurried. So if you haven't seen my last reading on that, please do take a look, because it confirmed what I intuitively was picking up. Kushner, my question is, he was travelling when the riot occurred at the Congress, magician, doing business really, while he was on the taxpayers' payroll in the Middle East. But I have a feeling Kushner might actually give evidence. He might, I don't know, turn on Trump like they all have. Will Kushner give evidence detrimental to his father-in-law? It's sort of like no love lost in a way. Will Kushner turn on Trump? Will Kushner turn on Trump and give evidence to January 6th that is compelling? So we've got the 6 of Wands. He wants victory. He wants a victory. And he's quite concerned about being caught up. This goes back to Trump's victory, something that he did around when Trump was first elected. Has a decision to make. Which way is he going to go? Now, Barr, of course, has completely turned on Trump. Don't put it past Kushner. There's an inevitability that Kushner will turn, perhaps to save his own skin because he's worried about things that may come out with the Moon card. And we've got the Page of Pentacles, information being given up. He may answer a question that is quite important around some kind of funding. And we've got the 2 of Cups. Campaign funding being pushed toward this insurrection. There's something, Garland is following the money. I think that's really important. So we have here deals, relationships, contracts, partnerships, and reviewing them. Interesting. He's reviewing things. He has a decision to make. He's walking a tightrope, Kushner. He's very worried about something that he did early on in the Trump presidency. We have the Knight of Swords. That's the outcome card. The truth will emerge. Here is the family card, and we've got the Ace of Wands. These are all yes cards. Yes, he is going to give evidence that will not paint Trump in a good light. He is particularly concerned about something that he may have done at the beginning of the Trump presidency, which could land him in hot water. We have betrayal. The Queen of Swords, he might, again, as Barr did, be looking to change his allegiances for whatever the reason. It's almost like it's an inevitability. Almost like an inevitability, because he is cornered. Here we go. There are lies here. It is around the Russian connections as well. And something around the money is here. Here's where it all meets, where the rivers all meet. Something around what is going on now, freezing Russian assets in America. Garland coming out and saying he was following the money, about the funding of the rally/riot. Something is going to be turned up in that regard. And I did actually say in my last reading that Garland was following the money. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great week. I'll release my tarot scopes later on in the week, in the next few days, if you're wondering, for all signs. And now I'll get on with looking after my husband, who has COVID, and hopefully staying well myself. I have had 3 shots, so I should be fine. We should be fine. My husband's doing really well. He's on day 5, and he's absolutely fine. He's had 3 shots as well. So stay well, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.